Man, what a start to the season. NASCAR's back, and they kick things off with the clash at the LA Coliseum, and man, things were just so intense from the get-go. With the heat races, the last chance qualifiers, and the main event, the clash itself. We have a lot to talk about after the clash at the LA Coliseum. Hey guys, NASCAR Mode 48 back again, and welcome back to another episode of NRR. And today is the season premiere of Season 3 of NRR, as we are about to kick off our second full-time season of doing this show. Can't wait to go ahead and get started. Can't wait for you guys to check in on this video. So let's go ahead and get this started. And so first off, the clash at the Coliseum happened. Joey Logano was able to get the win. There was a lot of controversy, a lot of chaos, not only in just the race, but in the last chance qualifiers, hint, hint, Dillon, and in the heat races, where there were a lot of bumps and bangs just to get themselves into the main event from tonight's race. So a very huge race indeed, for a purse of what, almost $2 million. So it was a very outstanding race in my opinion. It exceeded expectations because I was kind of troubled for the start of this one, but then as it went on throughout the weekend in general, it just got a whole lot better. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Going to be talking about our top 10 finishers, going to be rating the race, going to be talking about probably the biggest thing coming out through this race, the biggest moment of the race, or just the weekend, or the whole day in general. I don't know what to say. They're going to be looking at drivers who had a good race, drivers who had a bad race, but we're going to be talking about those in the clash. I'll hint out some drivers in the heat races that also had some bad luck, and we're going to round this out with the outro. So let's go ahead and dive on into this video. Finishing in first was Joey Logano. Joey Logano overall had a really good race in my opinion. He started fourth, was able to get the win overall. He was basically in the top five for most of the race, and I believe for just like all of the race. Like, it was him going at it, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick at first, until Tyler Reddick had a mechanical failure. So it was just Logano versus Kyle Busch. So some classic rivalry right there if we go back to 2017 at Vegas. But Logano was able to get the best out of it, having a good restart, and was able to take the lead away and the win from Kyle Busch. But Joey Logano, he had a pretty decent weekend. I don't think he was the fastest, but he definitely had the speed, and he definitely knew what to do, because we all know about Joey Logano. He knows how to use the bumper. Okay, we've seen what he did at Martinsville, but overall, really good race for Joey Logano. A nice way to start off the season after having only a one race win last year at Bristol Dirt. So something to lay back off and just have a nice start to the season. So decent start to the season for Joey Logano and the 22 team. And I hate how the winner of the race had the ugliest scheme out there all day, so that just sucks. But overall, decent day for Joey Logano and the 22. Finishing second was Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch also had a really decent race in my opinion. I believe he led the most laps out of today's race. After Reddick was out, Kyle Busch was just basically the main horse out there running for the race win, but then he had some competition from Joey Logano just getting on to him, giving him the bumper run. Kyle Busch wouldn't budge at times, but other times he had to budge, and then Logano just made his way through. But another good weekend just for Kyle Busch, because in practice he had the fastest lap. He didn't, and he also, well, actually no, he wasn't the fastest in practice, but he did win qualifying. He did have the fastest lap in qualifying, and he won the pole, but finished in second. So not that much of a good weekend for Kyle Busch, but it was still a really good one compared to others and stuff, because he was just able to get into the Busch clash and was able to hang on and was able to stick to second place. So overall, good weekend for Kyle Busch and the 18. We'll see if they can make some good adjustments, and we'll see how they can do at the season opener at Daytona. Finishing third was Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon able to get a nice solid third place finish, for the number 3. Coincidence? I don't think so. But for Austin Dillon, it was a really good race for him overall, because I forgot where he started in this race, and I didn't really expect to see him make it into the clash, but he did, and I didn't really expect him to do that good, but he did. In fact, not only was Tyler Reddick really good, but you also have to think Austin Dillon was pretty good since both of them are teammates. So a nice solid finish for Austin Dillon, getting third, especially especially towards the end of the race when he knew it was go time and the $2 million or almost $2 million was up for grabs for the win, but just a little bit too short, a bit too late to catch Logano or Kyle Busch. Could have wished that something between those two would have happened, so Austin Dillon could have been the better benefactor. But hey, overall, decent race for Austin Dillon. I bet they exceeded expectations from the Clash, so we'll see what Austin Dillon can do. Let's see if he can go and get his second Daytona 500 in about a couple weeks. Finishing in fourth was Eric Jones. Eric Jones also had a really good race because he was the driver that I said, guys, to look out with this new next-gen car, and he actually did pretty good. He had a really good weekend, had a really decent qualifying session, was able to make it to the Clash, and got a nice top 5 finish. He did have a couple of run-ins, most notably the one with Ryan Blaney during the Clash race, and then Blaney was not happy with him, threw his Hans device at him, so of course Blaney wasn't happy, so we'll see if that will... that rivalry will continue going into the regular season. But Jones did say in his post-race interview that Blaney brake checked him, and that's why he did that. So we'll just see, because there could be a rivalry between the 43 and the 12. Penske versus Petty. The two Ps, people. I'm not trying to talk about the song. Okay, that's about it. And Eric Jones gets a nice fourth place finish. Good job, kid. Good job. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th was Kyle Larson. The defending series champ, also had a pretty decent race, but I don't think he's defending series champ because when the drivers were rolling out onto the track, practice laps or setup laps before the green flag, freaking Tony Stewart says, "Oh, Chase Elliott, the defending series champion." So Tony Stewart had a bit of a brain fart right there. But anyway, Kyle Larson, who had a really good race, he started in 8th, was able to get a top 5 finish, so not bad for Kyle Larson. But some people are not really too happy with the defending champion after he had a run-in with Justin Haley. Basically, what happened? Justin Haley went in, took the spot from Byron. Byron, I don't know whose fault it was. Byron, he bumped Haley into Kyle Larson, or you could just say that Haley came out of nowhere, Larson, and then Byron had no choice but to stop, and then just bumped him into Larson. But then Larson wasn't happy; he thought it was retaliation, and he just knocked Justin Haley into the concrete wall, the inside wall, and killed his car. I mean, destroyed it. And so I wasn't happy with Kyle Larson. I kind of felt bad because I picked Justin Haley to win the race because he was the underdog coming into this weekend, so it does suck. But Larson, overall, he had a decent race, finished 5th, so we'll see what the defending series champion can do as his season, or, technically it's the preseason. It started off pretty decently, so we'll see how his regular season will do as he heads off to the Daytona 500 to see if he can capture his first Daytona 500 trophy as a new NASCAR champion. Finishing 6th was William Byron. Not only did Kyle Larson get a nice solid finish, same thing with William Byron. Byron able to get a 6th place finish, and he was just mostly hanging out inside the top 10, so nothing really too special. He started 7th, finished 6th, so he actually had an average car. I think him, Larson, and Elliott had some really fast cars in the Clash. Fortunately, Alex Bowman, he looked very good in his heat race, but then just some unfortunate issues couldn't get him in, or same thing with the last chance qualifiers. But still, William Byron had a decent race. Like I said, he also had a run-in with Justin Haley. I couldn't tell if Haley pulled up in front of him and Byron just had to stop on the dime, or Byron just shoved him into Larson. I have to go back and check. But still, Byron had a decent race and stuff. He's the driver that I predict that will have a #1 breakout season. So we'll just have to wait and see. And let's see if it starts out at the Daytona 500. But yeah, overall, decent race and decent finish for William Byron. Finishing 7th was Cole Custer. Cole Custer was definitely the driver that I did not expect to have a good finish, even make the Clash, but somehow, someway he did. He was able to transfer. He got the last spot in heat race #2, I believe, and basically he was just in the unknown. He basically just stayed out of trouble with everyone else, kept it clean for most of the race, and just somehow, someway was able to get a nice solid 7th place finish, a nice top 10 run. So we'll see what happens with Cole Custer for this season, but overall he had a really good race, so nothing really else to say about him, but we'll see how he does in this 2022 season, because this is a make or break year for Cole Custer, because I know he did win at Kentucky, but ever since then 10. He hasn't really done anything else. So this is a make or break season for him, because if he does not do good or even make the playoffs this season or even win or even finish like top 20 in the standings, this could be the season we could see Cole Custer possibly out of this 41 car by the end of 2022. But we'll see. It's up to SHR, Tony Stewart, and the owner to see. But overall, a decent race for Cole Custer and the 41 team. Finishing in 8th was Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell had a really decent weekend, in my opinion. He was able to get a nice, solid 8th place finish. So nothing really too serious. I mean, he did start outside the top 10 and 11th, only jumped up to 8th. So you can really tell by the starting and the finishing positions for these drivers in the top 10. It's not really that huge because it is a very short track. It's like a Martinsville, but shorter. And also, you got to think there were only 150 laps, and we did have a halftime show, which was really good in my opinion. So it was pretty decent for Christopher Bell, in my opinion, but we'll see how he does this season. Some people want to see him perform well. Some people think he'll have a breakout season, but we'll just have to wait and see when we head to Daytona. Hopefully he doesn't wreck the field like he did last year, but overall, a decent race for Christopher Bell and the 20 team, and let's see how their 2022 season goes. Finishing in 9th was AJ Allmendinger. Decent race for AJ Allmendinger in the 16 car. Once again, I still don't have a Colic car. Don't worry, should be getting those pretty soon with the new next gen car. But still, Allmendinger had a pretty decent race. He was probably the biggest one, or the driver who had the biggest position change throughout the race, because he started 21st and was able to get 9th, so that's a really good result. He also kept it clean, unlike his teammate Justin Haley, who was just battling up there for the lead and possibly for the win. But Allmendinger also had a really strong car. I loved his nice little lime and black paint scheme. It was very nice. But he also had a decent race. He also kept it clean, like I said about Cole Custer and stuff. Just really the drivers who finished like in the mid pack of everyone else, but still he had a nice decent race. Nothing to really complain about. We'll see how he does, because he's running the majority of the races in the 16 car, and we'll see if he can progress with it, and hopefully he could get a win, because I think he could, but we'll just have to wait and see throughout the season. But still a good result for AJ Allmendinger and the 16 team, and we'll see how they do at the Daytona 500. And rounding out the top 10 and 10th was Kevin Harvick. Harvick was also able to get a nice solid finish here at the Busch Clash. Harvick, he was pretty decent, sponsoring Busch Light. He also had a pretty decent race, so nothing too bad. Started 19th, able to get a top 10 finish. I'd say that's a job well done and stuff. A nice little start for them and for some other drivers in this new next-gen car. A lot of learning lesson, growing pains throughout the rest of the season. So we'll just see how that progresses. But a pretty decent start to the season, or the preseason, for Kevin Harvick. Let's see how they do in speed weeks and at the Daytona 500, because I've heard that they're not planning on bringing a second car. So that's going to be a bit of a tricky situation or issue, but we'll just have to wait and see if their plan actually works. And now let's rate this race. I'm going to have to give this race a nice A for effort. It was really good. The crowd size there was more than I originally expected, but it was a really great venue. And for the Cup Series practice, view count of fans there, it looked like a regular Truck Series race, so that's actually pretty decent in my opinion. So for this race overall, it wasn't the best, but it was still a nice solid race. Had some chaotic moments, seemed like a classic short track racing NASCAR moment right there, NASCAR race. So for the Busch Clash and for the first race of the 2022 season, I'm gonna give this race a nice solid 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. It was a solid race. There could have been some other good points of it, but that was just the racing overall. The facility looked great, and I don't know if we'll see this track on the schedule next season for the Clash, but we'll have to wait and see. But I give this race a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would give it in the comment section below. Now, it is time to talk about the biggest controversy of the entire day from the LCQ, or the Last Chance Qualifier, was this man. Don't get him confused for Ross Chastain. It's not Ross Chastain. That's supposed to pose as the one and only Ty Dillon. Or if you just get confused, he used to drive the 96 car, so there you go. But that doesn't matter. So, first up, we have Ty Dillon to talk about. So basically, for Ty Dillon's day, it all started in one of the heat races where he had an issue. I don't know if it was a mechanical issue or tire issue that already knocked him out of the heat race, to where he had to be in the second last chance qualifier race with some other drivers. And then, it all went from hell from there. He ran into so many drivers. He ran into Kurt Busch, Lanny Castle, Ryan Preece, and Bubba Wallace, a bunch of drivers. And somehow, some way, he had so many run-ins, so many wrecks with other drivers in the heat races, in the last year's qualifier race, to where he won. He won. He crossed the start-finish line first. But, not so fast. NASCAR hit him down with the huge penalty for him jumping the restart, to where he would be disqualified, and instead he would let this man make the race. That is the most Ty Dillon moment I have ever seen out of all the Ty Dillon moments in NASCAR history. Ty Dillon. I still hope he does well in the season. I hope he does well in the Daytona 500, and hopefully he can just have a nice, clean race. But we'll have to see, because he kind of sucks and stuff. But I'm just kidding. For real, though, hopefully Ty Dillon bounces back from this and stuff. But that is a tough way to end it after having so many run-ins. It's kind of karma for him to not even make the big show. But we'll see what happens for the rest of the 2022 season for Ty Dillon in the 42 car. Now to talk about some drivers that had a good race or bad race. So starting off with the bad from the heat races, which we're mostly going to talk about, and the LCQ. So first off with Aric Almirola, he got taken out by Todd Gilliland. A very unfortunate situation for Aric Almirola in his final clash of his NASCAR career. Hate for him to go out like that in his final clash. Austin Cindric, he was just, I don't know what happened with Austin Cindric. He just got taken out, 2-3 times in his LCQ, and somehow still finished 5th, but just could not make it into the main event. Brad Keselowski, he was just nowhere. He was just absolutely nowhere. He just did not have the speed. I thought Chris Buescher was technically faster than him, but just still, Keselowski just did not have the speed, in my opinion, and he was just starting in the back. So really, just not the speed is there for Brad Keselowski, but we'll see if things can progress going into the Daytona 500. Ross Chastain, he was looking pretty good in his heat race, and then unfortunately for Chastain, he started to fade away, and then that eventually ended his day. So sucks for Ross Chastain. His teammate made it, but he could not. Todd Gilliland, like I said, he was the driver who ran into Aric Almirola. So Aric Almirola has his number right there. So we'll see if these two will have another run in the regular season. And then for my boy Alex Bowman, his teammates made the big show. He did not. He got taken out pretty late in his LCQ race when he was just trying to get through all the mayhem and got caught up in one of the wrecks with Bubba Wallace and someone else. So it does suck for Alex Bowman. So those are the drivers who I thought had a bad race in the LCQ/heat races. These were the drivers from the main event Busch Clash that I thought actually had a pretty good race. Start off with Chase Elliott. I'd say he had a neutral day because he did spin out earlier in the race, but then he was able to rebound and get a nice 11th place finish. Not too bad, so I'll say it was a neutral day for the 9 team. Harrison Burton, who started, I believe, second to last for the main event, gets a nice solid 12th place finish. So for a rookie like him, I'd say that's a nice, decent job well done. And he was lucky to even make it because of the whole Ty Dillon incident. And finally for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he kept his nose clean, able to get a nice solid 13th place finish. So I'll say that's a job well done for the 47. So 11th, 12th, and 13th, thought they had a good race. Now let's look at the drivers who had a bad run. So the first 4 drivers that I thought had a bad race were these 4. First off with Chase Briscoe. Briscoe was actually making really good progress at the start of this race, but then after the first caution, he had a mechanical issue. He had a drivetrain issue, I think that's what they called it, and stuff. So really unfortunate and stuff. And he was the only one who was basically shifting and stuff. That's been his thing this entire race weekend. Just could not work for him, and so it sucks for him to have a 22nd place finish. Martrix Jr. finished in 15th, which isn't really bad, but for a short track driver who did really good at the nice short track races last season, it's kind of a disappointment. But hey, new car, new stuff. We'll see how it does for him moving forward. Denny Hamlin in the 11. Yeah, he finished dead last. He got 23rd. He had a power issue, so it does suck for Denny Hamlin and stuff. Him and Bubba Wallace didn't really do that well in the race, and Kurt Busch, of course, got taken out, and that ended his race, or ended his chance to make the Clash when he was in the LCQ. And finally, like I said, for Justin Haley, he had that incident with Kyle Larson and William Byron. So sucks for Justin Haley in the 31. So those are the first 4 drivers that I thought had a bad race. Now to the final 4 drivers that I thought had a bad race. Starting off with Ryan Blaney. He had that incident with Eric Jones, got taken out by him. He eventually came back out onto the track and finished 17th, but still not a good result for Ryan Blaney. Bubba Wallace had a bunch of issues in the final LCQ race. He got 18th overall, so not terrible, but still not really that good. So we'll see if anything else can happen. It's just a preseason race, so we'll see what happens in the regular season because they're headed to Daytona. Last time they were at a restrictor plate, they won, so we'll just have to wait and see for the Daytona 500. Same thing for Chase Briscoe. Tyler Reddick also have a drivetrain issue. He goes from starting in 2nd to leading the race to finishing in 21st, so not a good race for Tyler Reddick. And then finally, Ryan Preece. I didn't have a 15 car, so I have the 37. Ryan Preece finished 20th, and I thought he would be the underdog in this one, other than Justin Haley, but he had an oil pressure issue, so that does suck for him. Hey, Rick Ware, what can you say? But I'm not really going to blame Rick Ware. It's just an unfortunate issue. So those are the 4 other drivers that I thought had a bad race. Now, let's head to the outro. So that's going to end this video. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys want to check out my gaming channel, NASCAR Gaming 48, link will be in the description below. Should be uploading a video there tomorrow, so go ahead, stay tuned, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. There's some good NASCAR gaming content on the way. If you guys want to check out my Instagram, link will also be in the description. And subscribe to this channel. Really appreciate the recent subscribers. Really means a lot. First episode of NRR will be up later today, or probably tomorrow, early tomorrow, so we'll just have to wait and see. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys for the review for the duels at Daytona. Have a great rest of your day. Hope you guys enjoyed the Busch Clash at the Coliseum. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.